Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Unleashed. Oh yeah. So today guys, I want to get some stuff done. Last few episodes we've been working on mob grinders and we have been starting to make some Mine Factory Reloaded biofuel. Let's actually go take a look at this real quick. It's not full yet, but even though that looks like there's hardly anything in there, it's actually 2,000, just over 2,000 buckets of biofuel. Think we're doing pretty good on the stuff right now. It is kind of a pain for me to have to grab the bones out of here, turn them into bone meal, go all the way down here, put them into these bioreactors, and continually do that over and over again. So what I want to do today is I want to get power hooked up, and then I want to start working on applied energistics, get an ME network hooked up, and get this stuff automated. We can't do that until we get the power though, because as you guys know, applied energistics requires power to work. So yes, let's start working on that. So we got, a lot of biofuel going. That's great. I was kind of flying around looking at where we want to put our power production, and I think we are going to use steam boilers. So steam boilers aren't exactly the prettiest thing to look at, so they'd need their own building or somewhere to be put inside. And yeah, so putting them out in the open really isn't something that I wanted to do. I actually got a bunch of stuff down here that I wanted to grab too before we get going. But I did open up a space in the tree where we're going to put our steam boilers. Grab all this stuff. Okay. Yep, I opened up a new floor beneath the smelting floor, beneath the Tinker's Construct smeltery floor. All the way down here. Just got done clearing it out, and I think we are prepared to get some steam boilers going. Now, I have spots here for 4 of them, but we're only going to do 1 today. 4 is quite a lot of work, and I don't have that much stuff to do at all right now. I want to get the steam going, like I said, so we can get applied energistics hookup, and then we can also use that power for doing a quarry. So that is what we are going to work on, or that's at least what we're working towards. Okay, so steam boiler requires a bunch of steel to make the high pressure tanks and to make the liquid fueled firebox. Let's take a look at this real quick. So I've looked at these before in many of my series before, but let's just take a look. So it's 4 steel plates, and you make the steel plates by putting 4 iron in a rolling machine, and you get 4 plates. So 1 steel is 1 plate. Iron bars, bucket, fire charge, which is blaze powder, gunpowder, and coal. You get 3 of those, so it's not too bad on that. And then a furnace. So I have everything in my inventory ready to go for making 9 of these. We're going to do a 3x4 steam boiler, which means we need 9 of these. Okay, so the fire charge is pretty easy, like I said. Just gunpowder, blaze powder, and coal. Get you those. Now we have 9. Very good. And we should have everything we need for this. Okay. So now we got our 9 liquid fueled fired boxes. So we're down to 12 steel plates. That's not very much. I was looking at different ways to make steel. And the most common way to make it is to make a blast furnace. Where am I? There it is. I was like, where's the steel ingot? I can't find it. Yeah, the most common way to do this is to use coal coke. I think you can use charcoal, yeah, but you can't use regular coal. Use coal coke in a blast furnace with an iron ingot, and after a while make some steel ingots. So that's pretty good. There's other ways you can make it by using iron armor, obviously. You can do it a little bit faster, I would imagine. Yep, different iron tools. Crowbar you can find in dungeons and things. You can turn that into it. Obviously steel turns back into itself. It looks like there is a loss though, which is interesting. I don't know why that isn't 1-to-1. Unless this works on damaged. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Okay, so tools. Yeah, we can do commercial steam engine to get 12 out of those. Okay, so yeah, blast furnace, the most common way. So I was looking around, and I also saw there's something in Tinker's Construct. So let's see, Mighty Smelting. Was it this book? I can't remember. Maybe I saw it in NEI. There was a way it showed that you can use, I think, chain armor. Let's take a look at this. Steel. Did it not show? Oh, maybe I gotta do... Oh, I gotta right click on this, I think, not left click. Yeah, so a steel ingot in the smeltery turns into 144 millibuckets. Okay, so I believe 144 millibuckets is an ingot's worth. So I was looking at this, and it looked like you can... Yeah, if I click on the molten steel, here we go. So steel ingot turns into the molten steel. Chain leggings turn into the molten steel. So this is what I thought was pretty interesting. So I went over to the skeleton farm, and I turned it on for a while, trying to get a whole bunch of this chain material. So I thought I was going to have an easy way to make the steel, but no, unfortunately not. I tried putting in a damaged chest plate and it did not work, so I had to combine it with like 2 or 3 others to finally get a fully charged one. And then I put it in there, and it made 288 millibuckets, which is 2 ingots worth. So yeah, that took like 10 minutes to get enough of these chain chest plates to do this. So, I mean, if you have it going automatically all the time or something, yeah, you can get this stuff for free, but to try and get steel from the beginning, no, it's not that easy to do. Then I saw this guy right here, steel dust. This is new. I've never seen this before, so I clicked on it. So, yeah, 4 coal plus an iron ingot gets you a steel dust, which is pretty awesome. So I was also looking at this, and as it turns out, if I click on it, if you smelt the steel dust down, you get 2 ingots. So for 4 coal and 1 iron, you get 2 steel. It's a pretty good deal if you ask me. Or you could also melt it down the smeltery, obviously, which could work too. I'll probably just use the electric furnace. Okay, so let's make some of those. Yeah, this guy right here, steel dust. So there's a stack which is going to in turn turn into 2 stacks of steel. So that's going to be pretty good. I think we should be able to make all the steel plates we need for the steam boiler out of that. And we don't even need a blast furnace, which is pretty awesome, I have to say. Alright, guys. Well, I need to wait for this to smelt up. Then I need to wait to roll it out on the rolling machine. It's going to take a little bit of time, so I'm going to make a break here, and I will see you guys in just a bit. Alright, guys. So I went ahead and I got all the steel smelted up, and then I made our 36 high-pressure boiler tanks. And the way you make this is just a steel plate below and a steel plate above gives you 1 tank. So yeah, we need a whole bunch of steel to make all of these, but we finally got that all done. Also off camera, I made an aqueous accumulator. This is to collect water to put into the steam boiler so it can actually make the steam. And then I made this liquid tesseract before I even started recording. So yeah, we got everything all prepared to get the steam boiler up and running, and when we get that going, we should be able to get some power pretty soon. It does take a while for the steam boilers to heat up, so we won't have power right away, but we're going to be well on our way to have a bunch of power. So first thing we want to do is put the aqueous accumulator down. That's going to start collecting water from all the source blocks around it and filling up its internal tank. Let's go ahead and shift click the center thing here to turn everything else off. We just want the output to be from the top. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, I mean, we're only ever going to connect it to the top, so we might as well turn all the other sides off. Alright, so now we want to do a liquid fueled firebox, and this is going to be where we have to put the fuel in. Okay, so let's get this going right here. And I think for now, I am going to put this liquid tesseract right down here. I'm putting it closest to the center because later on I think I might just run some pipes from this over to the other steam boilers. That way I don't have to make 3 more of these tesseracts, or maybe I will make them. I don't know yet. But for now, this is also a clean way of doing it. So I've also added an MFR biofuel out channel. This is connected over to our tank where we're producing the biofuel. So let's go and turn this to that channel. We're going to say this is receive only. Go and click the frequency check mark thing there and place the last high pressure boiler tank. Nice. Or liquid fueled firebox. Okay, so now we're going to do these 4 tall. Pretty easy to get the steam boilers going. These do make a whole bunch of power if you've never made one of these before. Steam is a great power source. Okay, so we'll just place these last few blocks. And bam. We have a steam boiler. Looks like it's getting its fuel right. Yep, that is filling up. The water is also fueling up, which is pretty good. Oh, yeah. So when these steam boilers are cold, This one's only at 22 degrees Celsius. It uses a whole lot more biofuel than it will, or I guess fuel, whatever you provided it. It uses a whole bunch more fuel than it does when it's completely warm at 1000 degrees Celsius. So yeah, I wanted to get a stockpile of our biofuel going before we even hooked one of these up, so we don't run out of fuel while it's trying to warm up, and then it cools off because it just can't keep up. But yeah, I think we are going to be pretty good here. The water's just going to continue to fill all the way up. Once we get to 100 degrees Celsius, this thing starts producing a little bit of steam, and then we can look at turning that steam into power. Okay, so that's all done. We can't really do anything else right now while it's warming up. We just got to kind of wait. But there's some other things that I want to make. I'm going to have to, or at least I want to, make some more liquid tesseracts to move the steam from the steam boiler elsewhere. Then we're going to need to take that steam and convert it into MJ. Now, by default on the Unleashed pack, Power Converters is not a mod that's turned on. But then again, Biomes of Plenty wasn't turned on either. But I've gone through and I have turned the Power Converters mod on. And with the Power Converters, we can take steam. There's a steam what the heck? Oh, Universal Electricity. Huh. I didn't know we could make that in this pack. Interesting. Okay, yeah, there's a steam consumer. So this will consume the steam. We'll pipe that through an energy bridge, and then we can turn it into Buildcraft power, IC2 power, factorization, apparently universal electricity. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and make some of this stuff. So this requires, for the energy bridge, the gold, diamond, redstone, glass. Not too bad. Steam consumer is more gold, and a commercial steam engine, which is iron plates, iron gears, piston, glass. That's actually not bad because I have some extra iron plates made. I don't remember why I made all these iron plates. There was some... I think it was for the iron spikes? I can't remember. But yeah, I made a bunch extra. And then for the Buildcraft producer, we have to make the consumer, and it turns into the producer in your crafting grid. We need a Stirling engine and some gold, or a magmatic engine. I think the Stirling engine is probably the cheapest. Cobblestone, piston, stone, gear, glass. Okay, so yeah, this is going to require a bit of crafting. So let me get to this. I'm going to craft it up, and we will be right back. Okay guys, so I spent a little bit of time here waiting for the steam boiler to warm up, and it has finally gotten to a point where it's making steam. We're at 284 degrees Celsius right now, which is pretty good. Fuel's keeping up and all that. I just went and checked on our biofuel tank. We're at 2,100 buckets, so we're not losing. We're still doing pretty good, but I still have to go over there and manually put that bone meal in. Otherwise, we'll just keep using this stuff, and yeah, eventually we will run out. So yeah, we want to get that all hooked up pretty soon. So I have liquid ducts all over this one side, and then I put a liquid tesseract right here. So one face is actually touching the steam boiler, and then I wrapped another face around the outside, another pipe to another face over here. So we're piping steam into all 6 sides of that thing. So that's Tesseract should be getting about the most it can out of that steam boiler right now. I also went and I made a whole bunch of the power converter stuff, because that is definitely something I'm going to be wanting to use. So I made 5 energy bridge, 3 Buildcraft producers, and 5 steam consumers. Now I didn't make 5 Buildcraft producers because I was thinking I might make some Industrial Craft 2 IC2 producers, so I can get rid of this lava setup over here, and then we'll get some batteries hooked up, and get all these machines running off of the steam that's being power converted into the IC2 power. It's going to be a much better setup than having to rely on lava. Okay, so let's check this stuff out. This is pretty cool. So we take the energy bridge. We need one of those. We need a Buildcraft producer, and we need a steam consumer. Okay, so we'll put these down. Let's take a look at how these things work. So this guy right here is going to take steam in. It's going to put into this energy bridge, and from here we can convert it to anything. But we're going to convert it into Buildcraft power. Awesome. So we need a liquid tesseract. So we take one of these. I made a couple more of those during that time. And then I also made a steam channel. This is our number 3. And we'll just go ahead and click that on. And we'll say receive only. Okay, so this is now receiving steam. and it has an internal buffer here that is charging up. So when we put something down, it doesn't have to use steam right away. It's got this internal charge it already has, so it can output a lot of energy. So over here I have Magma Crucible. This thing has a fairly large capacity. Stick this guy right here, and this is going to fill up. It holds 40,000 MJ, and as you can see, it's still using the internal charge. It barely used any power at all. So let me go ahead and do this again. Just go ahead and try and waste all the internal charge as much as possible. See, it's putting out 400 MJ on that internal charge. That's pretty crazy. 400 MJ? Wow. Okay, let's put that down one more time. All right, so now we're just going straight off the steam. No charge buffer. So this is outputting 116 MJ a tick just off steam. That's not bad at all. So a quarry, like the maximum you can give a quarry, I believe is 100 MJ, but after about 50, it's really not worth it. But yeah, I mean, we could run 2 quarries off of this. We could run, you know, obviously all of our thermal expansion machines. This is pretty good. I like converting steam into MJ power. Very, very cool. Okay, so let's put this guy away, and we've seen how these things work. I'm going to hook up another one of these probably underneath our floor here, and that is going to be for Industrial Craft 2 power. That's why I originally made these, so there's like a little space between the floors, so we can hook up like our power production down here, maybe get some energy cells or something to hold extra power, and then we can run the pipes over to wherever they need to be. So for instance, right here I have our copper wire that is powering, you know, from the geothermal over into electric furnace and stuff. So yeah, we can run all of our wires and stuff down here. We don't have to see them. We got our force engine over here. This is going to go away because if we can produce 116 MJ a tick, this guy only produces like, what was it, 8 MJ a tick? I mean, this is great for on the go or, you know, small little things, but now that we got the big boy power, kind of seems a little pointless, but I don't think we're going to quite put this away for good yet. Okay. But yeah, I want to make an Industrial Craft 2, another power converter, well, I guess producer. So the next step right now, the next thing I really want to work on is getting the applied energistic stuff hooked up. Now, I don't think I talked about this yet, but in that cave world, after last episode, I went through and I mined a whole bunch of stuff. You see, we got, you know, 7 stacks of this Certus quartz and just about 6 stacks of the Certus quartz dust. And then I went to the nether and went crazy, and I got a whole bunch of nether quartz. Yeah, almost 10 stacks of that stuff. I did make a force pickaxe with fortune 4 on it and speed 1, so this is pretty good. Almost broken, but these are really cheap to remake. I mean, it just takes, you know, 4 cookies, 4 pieces of paper, and then the ingots for the tool. So yeah, not bad at all. Okay, so we want to start making applied energistic stuff, and this is kind of the part that sucks because you have to build everything by hand, and applied energistic stuff isn't the easiest thing in the world to craft. So we need an ME controller, this guy right here, which requires these new items, Fluix crystals. This is different than Ultimate. The Fluix is a combination of both the nether and the Certus quartz. Before it was just called quartz crystal, but yeah, they changed it to Certus, and yeah, we have to use the nether and redstone to make these guys, so it's a little bit more expensive. And we got the diamond processors. Ooh, this requires a redstone diamond chipset? Or is that just one of the possible ways of making it? Okay, so we can do, we can make it on the assembly table. Ooh, I didn't realize this. So we do need an assembly table to do any of the applied energistic stuff. That's interesting. They must have changed this recipe just recently, because I don't believe it was like that before. Okay, well, now we got all the power in the world. We can make the assembly table and all the lasers required. So I guess we're not going to do applied energistics just yet. Let's do an assembly table. I don't think I've actually ever made one of these before. Okay, so it's obsidian, diamond gear, diamond. Ooh, so that's 5 diamonds just for this guy. Well, I think we got the diamonds covered. We got 28 diamonds, and I got a few diamond ores that I got out of some nether diamond ore that I collected. So that's fine. Obsidian, that's the thing that's probably going to be a pain. I know you can use the minium stone to turn logs into obsidian, but I don't know if you can use the force logs. I don't have very many of the vanilla logs. I know those work. I do not know. Oops, I do not know if these guys work. Let's put that in here. No, it doesn't. Oh, also, that reminds me. I am now using Unleashed 1.1.4. This is not the recommended. They just came out with this yesterday, I think. Probably 2 days ago by the time you guys see this video. But the problem was in 1.1.3, you couldn't make the 4 sticks because 2 logs on top of each other make this oak barricade. And that used to be the recipe for the 4 sticks. And in 1.1.3, there's no way to craft 4 sticks. So now you can take force logs, make force planks, and turn the force planks into 4 sticks. So yeah, they fixed that recipe. They had to change it. But yeah, there is a way to make the 4 sticks now, which is pretty good. Okay, well, it looks like I'm going to have to figure out a way to get some obsidian. I could go down to the branch mine and mine it out. I might just do that. It won't take too long. I'll get this all crafted up. We're going to have to make some lasers to make the chipsets. Let's see, laser. Yeah, these guys right here. And more obsidian, 2 diamonds. Man, these are expensive. I might make like 4 of these. Okay, well, I'm going to get some materials collected. This is going to take a little bit of time to do. Craft this stuff up, set it up somewhere, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I'm running into a problem here. So we have our energy hooked up. We have our steam coming in. We have the steam. Actually, you know, I just realized my NEI tooltips is not turned on. How do I do that? Options, highlight tooltips shown. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we have the steam consumer right here. We have the energy bridge and the BC producer. So this has a charge. We can see it's doing some stuff right here, just normal slight drain. So we have a wooden conductive pipe going into golden conductive pipes, right? So theoretically, this should work. Like if this was an engine, you need the wooden pipe to pull the power out of the engine, and then the golden pipes to distribute the power. Okay, so let's hook up our lasers. Laser. I made 8 of these things, and I wanted to put this up right like that for a cool little design. By the way, we're on the Mistcraft level. This isn't going to be a permanent, or at least it's not supposed to be permanent, but this was like the first available spot that I saw. Okay, so we're still no change here, so let's put the assembly table down. We'll stick that guy right here, right in the center, right? Okay, so let's put a piece of redstone in, and let's set the thing. So now it should be making a redstone chipset, but nothing's happening. Now, normally with these pipes, these Buildcraft pipes, when they're sending power, there's like a little blue beam that goes through them, and you're like, oh, cool, there's power going through it. Well, as you can see here, there is 0 power going through it, which is really weird. I don't understand why that is. So let's take some of these down so we can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. So, laser. We stick a laser right here. Oops, shift and put on there. You can see it's sending a laser beam over here, turning green, turning blue. We're good. So that can create it right like that, right off of the BC producer. But we can't pull it out with this wooden conductive pipe. So I was thinking, well, maybe it's a problem. Maybe you don't need the wooden pipes to pull out of these things. I don't know. Let's try using one of these golden pipes. So I put the golden pipe here. You see that turns green, like it acknowledges that there's an item there. But again, if we put these lasers, there's no blue line. It's not doing anything. This isn't going. Very, very weird. Now, one thing I was trying out before, I was rearranging these pipes, and I ended up putting a wooden pipe. Oops, let me put that torch back. I ended up putting a wooden pipe off here, and then I had a laser on it. Where's the wooden? Yeah, these guys. So we did a wooden pipe, and then I had like a laser directly on that, and that seemed to work for some reason. No, not pointed up, pointed this way, I think. Well, I was seeing the blue stuff go through here too. This might be too close. I might have to move this. I don't know. But yeah, that seemed to work. It was only working off one single pipe, which is pretty odd. I don't I don't, 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 I don't understand what's going on with that, why that would work. But yeah, that seemed to work. It was only working off one single pipe, which is pretty odd. I don't understand what's going on with that, why that would work. Yeah, obviously that's not working right now. I can't remember how I had that set up, but it was set up like, let's see, let's try this again. Maybe if I had it, that pipe like this, and then I had the laser on it right here. There it goes, yeah. You can see the blue is like going from top and over. It's not coming from the Buildcraft producer. So something really, really funky is happening here. So I don't understand what the problem is. I mean, this should be working, but it's not. So anyway, I went ahead and I made some of these redstone energy conduits. This is where we're going to be going eventually anyway with power. And these guys do work without a problem. I did test this out already and make sure. But yeah, now we can get all of our lasers hooked up here, all 8 of them. Let's get these guys all up here. Nice. And we want to do redstone and diamond. We're doing the redstone diamond chipset. Okay, so yeah, you can see all the lasers turning on. They're all getting their power. Very good. So now we're creating this guy. It's going pretty slow. We don't have too many lasers here. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I have to make a bunch of these. I'll probably have these set up just to auto-produce these since it takes so long to make. And it looks like that's how we're going to be making the diamond chipsets from now on. So I'm going to stick a chest next to that thing so it has somewhere to output those chips into. But yeah, that's pretty weird how the Buildcraft pipes aren't working with the Buildcraft stuff. I don't get it. Alright guys, I gotta let this go for a little bit, and we'll be right back. Okay guys, well this is going pretty slowly, but it is coming along nicely. I found out that I don't actually need to make the chipsets and then combine them later. I can just build it all with the assembly table. So yeah, we are building the advanced processors and the basic processors all in one go, so we don't have to combine them later. It's just making them automatically and injecting them out here into this chest. So let's take some of these processors that it's already made. We'll just let this go while we're doing other things. I want to just go ahead and build at least one piece of Applied Energistics today. I want to get this going so bad. So iron ingots, we need the Fluix crystals. Let's see, that's tin. Here's iron. So the Fluix is a combination of both the Certus and the Nether quartz, and I believe it was a redstone too. So let's just, make about a stack of redstone. Pretty good. Alright, so we combine this with this, and finally with that, and there's our Fluix crystals. I'm just going to go ahead and make a bunch of these. We're going to be using these for a lot of recipes. Okay, so we got that stuff done. What else do we need? We need the advanced processors and iron. So we should have everything ready to go. Let's go ahead and click this. I don't need 4. Let's just make 1. Awesome. Okay, so we're on our way now. That's the first piece of the ME network, is the ME controller. What else can we build today? Maybe we should do an access terminal. Ooh, okay, so it's glass, this conversion matrix, which is Fluix dust. And the Fluix dust, just like the Fluix crystals, requires both different types of dust and redstone, but you get 2 of those. Let's see, what else? ME interface. Yeah, we gotta make these cables. Oh man, there's so much stuff. What I really want is get these pattern providers going. And what's the other thing? The CPUs. Man, those use the diamond processors. Whew. Even though this doesn't have GregTech in it, getting all this stuff isn't exactly the easiest thing in the world. Yeah, we have ways where we're kind of cheating, getting gold and getting iron and things like that, but I mean, my supplies aren't unlimited. I do have to work for this stuff. So I think what we're going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and end the episode here. I am going to gather the resources together and start crafting up a whole bunch of this stuff. Next episode, we'll probably set up the Applied Energistics auto crafting, get all of that stuff going, and hopefully be able to automate fully our biofuel over here. I mean, we got a good amount of biofuel ready to go, but again, it still requires me to go over here and manually put in the bone meal. This should last for quite some time, but I'll feel a lot better once this is automatically set up. I don't even have to worry about if I have biofuel because I'll always have it. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.